Hey everybody, it's Sophia from No Love Lost 2.0. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? So today I just want to play a little game where I tell, little stories about jokes on you. So I feel like this. So I remember a time when I used to be friends with this girl in college. Her name was Adriana. I don't remember her last name. Whatever the case may be, she was my friend. We was close. She was from Harlem. I was from Queens. We just made a connection in college and we just was vibing out with each other. We had mad love for each other. I started chilling with her. And I would sleep at her dorm whenever I didn't go home because I didn't live in the dorms. I lived at home. Stuff like that. Like we got real close. Like I would sleep at her house. Her family knew me. Her grandma knew me. So I'm thinking this person is real close to me. Like I'm going to baby showers for the family and everything in the Bronx. Why? Why did this girl? So I met this dude that I was talking to for a minute. And why did this girl befriend him? And I wanted them to be friends because like he was a hairdresser, he did hair. So I was like, okay, you know what? You can link up with my girl and make sure she always fly. Boom. Why the after the second time he did her hair, she went to got to telling my business. I said, why would you feel comfortable enough to sit with him and even say anything about anything I got going on or that I had going on before he really was around in my life like that? But you know what? She did what she did. Granted, this literally made a whirlwind of bullshit start happening. So then basically he goes to her dorm because like, we're still in college. So he goes to her dorm and he stays there for like the weekend or whatever. And I'm like, yo, when you coming home? He's like, oh, I'm not coming home. I'm leaving or whatever. I'm like, okay. So you leaving based off of what that person told you, oh no, that's your girl though. Why would she lie? First of all, what she told him, it may have been facts, but it's crazy that people loyalty will change up on you based off of a mood. You getting your hair done and you get the yapping. You get your hair done, you get to yapping. Like who does that? But you know what? That's what some people do. She sat up there and sabotaged a relationship that no, I did not give a fuck about like that. But the fact is, what I should have been the one to sabotage it, not you. How you gonna call yourself my close friend? I know your family. You know of my family because I don't be bringing people around my family because they know how they are. So how you gonna sit up here and do me like that? And you know what her excuse was? She was like, "Oh, well, you lied to me about something." I said, "Well, what did I lie to you about?" She couldn't even tell me what it was. She couldn't tell me what it was at all. All she could tell me was, "Oh, um, I just felt like he needed to know you supposed to be my bitch. You supposed to be my bitch. Why are you telling my business? My bitch. You supposed to be my rider. How it go from you being my rider to you meeting this dude, him doing your hair 2 times, and you telling all my shit. Boom. Backtrack. Then he came home after that and he was like, oh, I want to work on it. I want to work it out. All right, granted. All right, we'll try. Boom. I'm like, you still gonna be friends with her? Like, cause at this point, I'm not fucking with her. She done did something where she done came in my relationship and already tore the motherfucker up. That was not her place. So she was like, oh, I don't fuck with Sophia. I don't fuck with Sophia. I said, that's good, baby. I don't need you to fuck with me. So what it goes back to is she was like, "Oh, I'm still gonna be friends with your man." I said, "Nah, you not. Y'all friendship is done." And I told him, I said, "If you really fuck with me, I said you wouldn't be sitting here talking to her because she already came in between our relationship and started running her damn mouth about things that was not necessary for you to know because they weren't during you, or they were things that happened in the process of getting to know you." So it's just like it's crazy how you could be real close to a person and they will sit up there and play jokes on you. Like they will joke in your face and be your biggest advocate and then be your biggest snitch. How you go from being the biggest supporter to being the biggest hater? Because you was always a hater. You really got to watch out for those fake supporters because a lot of people will sit here and act like they really support you, but they really don't give a fuck. or they really hating that you doing something that they can't do. And that's what my whole thing was with her. I was like, yo, you did all of that. So blah, 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 XYZ. Like a good 6 months go by. Me and him, we still together. Nothing happened significantly, but it was just like we was like it's like you could tell when a relationship is about to die out, right? So this is like 2 years in, and you could tell when a relationship is about to go. So, everything was just different. I came home one day and, he was like, oh, I'm packing all my stuff and I'm leaving. I was like, I bet that's not a problem. I didn't even fight for him to stay. So then, granted, because I didn't give a damn. That's the worst part is that I really didn't care. I think, I was also young. I was like 21 and I was just going through the emotions of being in a relationship with someone and we lived together. You know what I mean? So that's what it was. It was nothing really like, oh, extravagant about that relationship where I was like, oh, I'm about to fight for this. I did not try to fight for it, not even once. I literally was like, when he left, and it was done. Just like that. It was done. And that's the thing about it is he went on that whole campaign of just getting mad and smearing me and disrespecting me. And I never, you know what I would say? I said, well, if that's how he feel, that's how he feel. I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you because I was over the relationship and I thought he was over the relationship. So I thought we were done. There was nothing else to talk about. But this is the thing. This is how people played in my face, and I allowed it because I sat up here and talked too damn much. Sometimes we can just sit here and trust the wrong people because we're always around them, so we assume that means that they're loyal. No, my ass was talking too much to that girl, and she knew too damn much about my damn business, and it was my own fault for running my mouth to somebody I thought was my friend. I should have really reevaluated the relationship when I started seeing certain things. But you ignore those things, like I said, sometimes due to the fact that you're always around a person. So you see them as loyal, like, oh, you always around me. You always hanging out with me. We always have a good time. That means loyalty. That is not always the facts. Sometimes people just want to sit in your orbit just to radiate your energy, just to get your energy. And I really just realized that what it came down to is she was a hating ass bitch from Harlem, a hating ass bitch from Harlem, and she know she was wrong for telling that boy that. But you know what? It's all good. Moving on. So boom, I was friends with this dude from New upstate New York, Syracuse. I was friends with him for a ill minute for a few years. We met on a website called Tagged. It was like back in the day, if you like was on, I think like 2010, 2000, yeah, like 2010, I met him on Tag. And so we was vibing. We always talked like friends because we never met. He lived in Syracuse and I lived in New York City. So he set up here and was friends with me for years while I was with the last person I was telling y'all about. And he set up there and we like, so when that relationship ended with that dude when he left, so I hit up dude like, oh, you gonna come, like that was in August, so like maybe my birthday's in November, so like 3 months later, no, September, 2 months later, I said, yo, I said my birthday's coming this month. I said, you want to come see me and come hang out? I said, because we've been saying we gonna do it for years and we ain't did it. And he was like, yeah, bet I'll do that. He's like, you got to come get me. I was like, I bet. Drove up to Syracuse with my homeboy and this girl I was cool with at the time. Drove up to Syracuse and was like, went and got him. Boom. That was our first time meeting. Cause we always video chat and shit like that. Skype. This is back in the day. Skype and shit. And he was a good dude, shit. He was a good dude because a lot happened with that motherfucker. But whatever the case may be, I still got love for the nigga. But whatever the case may be, he set up there, end up coming back to the New York City with me from upstate New York, Syracuse, and was like, he ended up coming. He was supposed to come for my birthday, and when he was supposed to go back, he was like, "Nah, I'm not going back." I was like, "Yeah, what you mean you're not going back?" He was like, "Nah, I'm not going back. I want to stay." And I was like, "Oh, okay, bet yeah, you can stay." Jumping into another relationship, y'all. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? I was doing too damn much. So the old dude before him was like, "Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. How you sitting here with another dude already?" Mind you, me and him broke up at the end of August, around the 28th of August. I got in a relationship with this new person by like November 18th of the same motherfucking year. Yeah, the same year. So, so he was like, "Oh, you was cheating on me the whole time." I really wasn't. This really was my friend. This really was just my friend. So whatever the case may be, so he sat up here and ended up staying. He ended up, getting a job here and stuff like that. Everything started, coming together. We in a relationship now. Boom, boom, boom. The years has gone by. We got a cat together. We moved to different apartments together. And you know what? The biggest thing that I realized was we were so young and we were moving so fast, but we really didn't really know each other the way we should have. We really didn't really grasp how to communicate with each other in a way where we both were heard and respected. And that's that's one of the relationships I learned a lot from. I learned a lot of how to be upset but also be respectful. you know, to have my feelings heard, but have them be heard with logic instead of just my emotion. I learned how to not feed off my emotion because of dealing with that particular relationship. And I'm not going to say that person was bad to me because they were definitely good to me. I had more good years with them than bad. It's just with time and not knowing how to communicate in a effective way where you hear each other, the relationship dispersed over time. And it was like within 4 years. I don't even know how we got to 4 years, but we were 4 years in already. And what happened next is we end up leaving each other. I had a really big bad fight. And then we end up still talking. We still talk to this day. We talk like at least twice a year to once a year. Um, because you know what? The one thing that we both agreed was neither one of us were bad people. We were just young and we didn't have the tools to actually build a foundation that was strong for a relationship. We didn't have the tools. We just thought being in a relationship meant that, oh, everything is going to work out because we now have somebody. We have somebody that we can depend on. And we're not even learning how to depend on ourselves the correct way to come to each other and not put all that on one another, because we would put all of our problems on each other and it would leave no room for strength because we would always feel so heavy. You would feel so heavy because you feel like, oh, I'm not breathing because I'm dealing with what he got going on and then he dealing with what I got going on. That is one person that I always will respect. I will respect my second relationship more than anybody, more than anybody I dated, other than obviously my husband that I'm married to now. I'm sorry, as far as those extra, I respect that person because there was no malice, there was no ill malice. We just had a conversation and we remained distant friends, and it was always just respect. It was nothing like nobody was looking to get back with each other or attack each other. Because even after that relationship, when I got into another relationship with somebody else, even that person was like, "Yo, being nosy." I guess they didn't believe me how I spoke about my ex. It was like, "Yo, you guys are really just friends." It's like, I read through y'all conversations. Yo, y'all are really just friends. I was like, yeah, like we were friends before we dated. So we have a respect and love for one another. I just wanted to tell y'all like some more about my life and some things that transpired. There's way more that has happened where people have played in my face. There's situations where the girl that I was cool with and I was the godfather to her child, she sat up there and knew that my ex and me was having issues, and she knew and did not tell me until after he left in the situation and I left and the situation had ended. It was no direct communication, and this was another one that was supposed to be my shh. So I had to start saying I need to reevaluate how I pick friendships, because the people that I feel is supposed to hold me down is the same people that is either snitching on me or withholding information. I take accountability for anything that ever happened in any relationship that I have contributed to. But I just know that it's sometimes it's crazy how you could be so close to people and you would think that they would have your back to make sure that you're informed, just like you would do for them. But then I also realized as I got older, you cannot expect people to be who you are to them. And with that, a lot of growth comes from that, because now I don't have to get emotional about issues that do not be resolved due to the fact that someone's not in alliance with what I feel. I don't depend on people's emotions to match mine for my emotions to stand strong. They're not going nowhere. Those boundaries are set. I realize that a lot of things that have happened in my life were based off the fact that my boundaries were not in order, and I sometimes would cross boundaries as well. It was the lack of the foundation of learning how to communicate. The biggest reason why people just don't work out in friendships and relationships and even with family is just we don't know how to communicate with one another. We have to find a tune. Like I remember when I got to a point where I just didn't want to yell anymore in one of these relationships I was in. I was like, yeah, I'm done yelling. I'm done stressing about situations that I can't change. And I would just have conversation and dialect with the person, just like I'm talking now. And they would be like, oh, yeah, I know you're mad. I know you're mad. I know you're upset. I know it. And I know it. You're just acting like you're not. And I said, I am upset. I said, but I'm not going to react the way you want me to in order for you to feel good about how you are making me feel. That's a growth, because a lot of the times back in the day, it was just like, I'm with whatever you want to do because we're going to resolve this situation one way or the other. But I realized, that I'm older now, that that's not how that works. So I've been realized that years ago. So I just know that I have some really good stories, and I could go into details about uh the second person that I dated. I really will do a story time on him, because that is how I became a better man. He was the reason why I became a better man, and how I became a husband to my husband, and how I became a communicator, a great communicator, an effective listener, a person who learns how to listen to understand instead of to respond. He taught me a lot, and I definitely know that I loved everything that I got from that lesson, because it literally brought a blessing with my husband. So, hey, everybody, this is just a little, talking about how people would play in my face and joke in my face, especially with certain things that, would be dear to your heart, but you think people going to hold you down, but hey, sometimes they don't. And that's life. So I'm Zafir from No Love Lost 2.0. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share, and hit that notification bell. You can stream on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And don't forget to continue to show that love. And don't forget, also stream on Apple. And don't forget, you can check it out on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. That's No Love Lost 2.0. One love.